At one of the most prestigious universities in Boston, Dr. Emily Parker worked as a lecturer in the psychology department at Harvard University. At 42, she was a successful academic and mother of two children. Her long, wavy brown hair, hazel eyes, and elegant demeanor made her a remarkable presence. Her students respected and admired her. Emily had specialized in psychological trauma and healing processes, publishing international articles in this field. Her husband of 15 years, Dr. Michael Parker, was a professor in the engineering department at the same university. He was handsome, charismatic, and very popular in academic circles. With his dark, almost black hair, green eyes, and athletic build, he attracted the attention of female students on campus. Michael had made a name for himself through his work in renewable energy and led important projects. They had two children, 14-year-old Olivia and 11-year-old Ethan. Olivia strongly resembled her mother and was growing into an intelligent and emotional girl. She was interested in music and literature, played the piano, and wrote poetry. Ethan, on the other hand, resembled his father, loved sports and computer games, and was exceptionally good at mathematics and science. The family lived in Cambridge, an elegant suburb of Boston, in a modern apartment overlooking the Charles River. Emily's mother, Margaret, had given this apartment to her daughter as a wedding gift. As a retired bank director, Margaret had lost her husband early and devoted all her love and attention to her only daughter, Emily. In the mornings, Emily got up early, prepared breakfast, took the children to school, and then went to the university. In her office, she met with students, continued her research, and wrote her articles. Late in the afternoon, she returned home, helped the children with homework, prepared dinner, and brought the family together. "You sacrifice yourself for us," Michael would sometimes say, embracing her from behind as she prepared meals. "Without you, this family would fall apart." Emily felt proud at these words and forgot her fatigue. Michael was a romantic man who often prepared surprises and pampered Emily in the early years of their marriage. Lately, these gestures had become rarer, but Emily found it normal. After all, they had been married for 15 years and had fallen into a routine like everyone else. In the last 3 months, Michael usually came home late because of important meetings at the faculty. "We're working on a new international project," he had explained 3 months ago. "We have partners from the United States and Germany, and because of the time differences, we have to hold meetings late in the evening." Emily initially didn't ask questions. She trusted her husband and knew that such intensity was normal in the academic world. Besides, she was in the final phase of her doctoral dissertation and was busier than ever. She worked until late at night and even went to the university on weekends. When her first doubts arose, Emily found it difficult to admit them to herself. She trusted her marriage so much that she ignored certain signs. But as a psychologist, she had learned to analyze behavioral changes in people, and Michael had definitely changed recently. For his birthday, Emily had given Michael the latest smartphone model. Michael began to protect his phone more jealously than ever before. He always placed its screen down, even took it into the bathroom, and placed it directly next to his bed for charging at night. Once, Michael's phone rang while Emily was cooking in the kitchen, and when she wanted to answer it, Michael quickly came over and said, "I'll get it." Message tones came in repeatedly at night, at 11, at midnight, sometimes at 2 in the morning. Michael always said they were work colleagues. "Jessica keeps asking questions," he said once. Jessica was the American researcher on the project. Because of the time difference, they start working when it's bedtime for us. On a Saturday, Michael had gone to the university for lab work. When Emily was alone at home, occupied with her books, a thought came to her. She could surprise Michael, The idea of leaving the children with their grandmother and driving to the faculty seemed tempting. Maybe they could have lunch together. When she arrived at the university, the corridors of the engineering department were almost empty. She went to Michael's office, knocked, but received no answer. She waited a bit, knocked again. Silence again. She turned the doorknob. The door was locked. She went to the office of the department secretary, Mrs. Thompson, at the end of the corridor. Mrs. Thompson had been working at the faculty for years and knew everyone and everything. "Dr. Parker, what a nice surprise," said Mrs. Thompson when she saw Emily. "Are you looking for Professor Parker?" "Yes, he should be in the lab, but I couldn't find him in his office." A confused expression appeared on Mrs. Thompson's face. "The labs? The labs are closed today for maintenance, Dr. Parker. There was a small leak during an experiment on Thursday, so they're under maintenance all weekend. The whole department knows that." Emily felt her stomach tighten. "Are you sure? Michael said he would be working in the lab today." "No, doctor, he hasn't come to the faculty at all today. I haven't seen him since I've been here this morning. Maybe he's in another department? I believe he's been working with the chemistry department lately as well." Emily thanked her and left. She also checked the chemistry department, but Michael wasn't there either. Confused, she returned home. Maybe there was a misunderstanding. Maybe he had gone to a meeting at another university. When Michael came home that evening, Emily didn't question him but only asked how his day had been. "Great," Michael said enthusiastically. "The experiments in the lab gave much better results than expected. The efficiency rate of the new solar panels is above our estimates." Emily looked into her husband's eyes. Michael had told his lie without hesitation, without arousing suspicion. He was a perfect liar. In the following weeks, Emily began to observe more closely. She wanted to trust her husband, but she could no longer ignore the details she had overlooked. Michael now showered more frequently, used new colognes, and joined a gym to stay in shape. Was it a coincidence that a 47-year-old academic was suddenly enthusiastic about a healthy lifestyle? How could it be that a man who had previously hated sports now went to the gym 3 times a week? "My blood work wasn't good," Michael had said. "The doctor recommended exercise." Emily wanted to believe it, but she couldn't suppress the growing doubt within her. One day, when Michael was in the shower, she checked his wallet. She didn't find much, but a business card caught her attention. "Lauren Wilson, research assistant." On the back was a handwritten phone number. Emily had heard the name Lauren. She was a young research assistant who had recently come to the faculty. She had come to the engineering department with Emily's reference. Emily had met her as a doctoral student and appreciated her intellect and diligence. She had even written her a letter of recommendation for the open position at the engineering department. On the credit card statements, she noticed conspicuous expenses: a piece of jewelry that Emily had never seen, allegedly a birthday gift for Michael's secretary, bills from luxury restaurants in the city, declared as faculty dinners, and even a payment to a boutique hotel, explained as accommodation for conference guests. One evening, Emily noticed a slight red lipstick mark on Michael's shirt collar. Her heart contracted. This was a clear sign, evidence too concrete to be ignored. "What is this?" she asked with a trembling voice, pointing to the shirt. Michael immediately defended himself. "I was in the elevator with the secretary. It was cramped. It must have happened accidentally." "Which secretary wears red lipstick, Michael? Mrs. Thompson has never worn red lipstick in her life." "Not our secretary, the dean's secretary." "What was her name?" Michael stuttered as he tried to come up with excuses. Emily wanted to believe it, really, but her eyes were now open, and everything that had been invisible began to become visible. The weeks of doubt began to affect Emily's health. She suffered from insomnia and concentration problems. She had fallen behind in her academic work and became impatient with her students. Her colleague and close friend, Professor Dr. Sarah Johnson, noticed the situation during lunch. "What's wrong, Emily? You've been so tense lately. Is there a problem?" Emily hesitated, but then she couldn't hold it in anymore and told her friend about all her doubts. Sarah listened attentively and then said with a sad expression, "I recognize these signs. My ex-husband behaved the same way when he started cheating on me. I hope I'm wrong, but I think you should clarify the situation. You can't live in doubt like this." "How can I be sure?" Emily asked desperately. "Either you ask him directly or you find evidence, but this uncertainty is destroying you." When the fateful day came, Emily was actually prepared. When her doctoral jury session at the faculty was canceled at short notice on Thursday, she decided to go home earlier. She didn't inform Michael. A feeling inside her told her that today she would find out everything. When she arrived at the apartment building, it was about 3 in the afternoon. As she was about to take the elevator, Mrs. Davis, a retired teacher from the neighboring apartment, came from the garden with flower seeds in her hand. "Emily, you're early today. Do you have visitors?" asked Mrs. Davis. Emily asked in bewilderment. "No, my meeting was canceled. Why do you ask?" "Just now, a young woman rang your doorbell. She was very elegantly dressed and had a small gift package with her. At first, I thought she was ringing the wrong door, but she confirmed your address." Emily felt her stomach tighten and cold sweat run down her back. What did she look like? Tall, dark-haired, very pretty, in her 20s, shoulder-length hair. She was wearing a black dress, a very beautiful girl, but she seemed a bit nervous. "When did she come?" "About half an hour ago. She went inside. She should still be upstairs." Emily didn't wait for the elevator but ran up the 4 flights of stairs. Her heartbeat echoed in her ears. This was too much, bringing another woman into her own home, into the nest of her children. When she reached the door, she hesitated and took a deep breath. She was afraid, but she had to know the truth now. With trembling hands, she took her key out of her pocket but put her ear to the door before opening it. Music was coming from inside. One of Michael's favorite jazz pieces. Diana Krall's velvety voice was singing "The Look of Love." This song had a special meaning. During their honeymoon, Michael had asked Emily to dance to this song every evening. Then she heard a woman's laugh, and after that, Michael's laugh. Emily was filled with pain. Her husband was sharing their songs, their special memories with another woman. Slowly, she opened the door and entered. She didn't even take off her shoes. Quietly, she went to the living room. No one was there. She looked in the kitchen. It was also empty. She looked in Michael's study. All his books and papers were in their usual neat order. The voices came from the bedroom. The bedroom door was slightly ajar. Emily approached and looked inside. What she saw was the collapse of her 15-year marriage, all her trust, all her dreams. Michael and a tall, dark-haired young woman were half naked in bed, embracing and drinking champagne. Emily recognized the woman immediately. Lauren Wilson, the new research assistant of the faculty. Just 3 months ago, she had been to dinner at their home and had even met the children. Olivia had spoken with her for a long time and said, "I want to be an academic like you too." And Lauren had given her career tips. And now the same woman was in Michael's arms, in Emily's bed. Lauren whispered something in Michael's ear while half naked. Michael laughed and kissed the young woman's neck. In a corner of the room, on Emily's dressing table, stood a gift package, probably the package Mrs. Davis had mentioned. Emily watched them for a while, frozen. A volcano was brewing inside her, but strangely, she was calm, as if she were a spectator of a film. Then she pushed the door open, which opened completely with a creak. "How nicely you welcome guests, Michael." Both looked at Emily in shock. Lauren immediately pulled the sheet over herself, her face bright red with shame. Michael jumped out of bed. He was wearing only underwear. Emily, you're back early, was all he could say. Yes, unfortunately, I'm back early. Had I come a bit later, who knows what I would have seen? Emily's voice was cold, almost unrecognizably foreign. It's not what you think, stuttered Michael. What then, Michael? How will you explain this? Were you researching here? A scientific experiment? Or were you testing new energy sources? Lauren began hastily to get dressed. I I should better leave, Emily said in a cold voice. No, stay. Obviously, this is your home now. I'm leaving. Dr. Parker. Emily, I'm sorry, mumbled Lauren with an expression of guilt and fear on her face. Now is not the time to be ashamed, Lauren. You were brave enough to come to my house and be with my husband in my bed. Now be brave enough to face the consequences. Emily left the room and went to the hallway. From the bedroom, Michael's hurried steps could be heard. Michael had put something on and had run after Emily. Emily, please, let's talk. It was a mistake. I'm so sorry. A mistake? Emily stopped and turned around. A mistake happens once, Michael. You've been cheating on me for 3 months. That's not a mistake. That's a deliberate decision. Please don't shout. Think of the children, said Michael with a pleading voice. You should have thought of the children before you cheated on me, said Emily, pulling her arm away violently. How long has this been going on? Only for 3 months, stuttered Michael. Lab work, meetings until late at night, weekend seminars. Everything was a lie, wasn't it? Michael didn't answer, lowered his head. Lauren had come from the bedroom, had quietly finished dressing, and stood there helplessly. Lauren, said Emily, turning to the young woman, you were my student. I gave you a reference, helped you come to this faculty. I invited you to my home, introduced you to my children. Olivia admired you. Do you know that? She took you as a role model. And how could you do this? Lauren said through tears. I'm sorry, she stuttered and couldn't finish her sentence. Go, out of my house, now, right now. Each word was like a piece of ice. Lauren quickly left the room, and shortly after, the front door was heard closing. Emily went to the bedroom, took out a suitcase, and began to pack her own clothes. Actually, she didn't want to enter the bedroom. She now felt the bed and the room as dirty, but she had to get her things. Michael followed her and continued to plead. Please don't go, Emily. It was a mistake. I love you. Don't destroy our family. I didn't destroy our family, Michael. You destroyed it. And in the most banal, cliched way. It was a meaningless affair. I love you. Only you. So meaningless that you brought her into our house, welcomed her in our bed, while the photos of our children are standing in the room. As Emily packed her things, Michael constantly tried to find explanations, to offer apologies. I felt lonely. You were always busy with your work. You thought of nothing but your dissertation. Because I was working for the future of this family. Emily finally burst out. While you were looking for a young toy, I was working to give our children a better future, to advance in my career, to earn more for our family. And now you're blaming me? I'm not blaming you. Just be quiet, Emily shouted. She could no longer hold back. 15 years. I've given you 15 years of my life. I've given birth to 2 children. I've sacrificed my career for you. And you, after consuming my youngest, most beautiful years, you go and cheat on me with a girl who is 20 years younger than me. What cruelty! What ingratitude! Michael was silent. He had nothing to say. Emily closed her suitcase, went to the living room, and took her bag. When the children come home from school, I'll take them to my mother's. You can stay here tonight, but I want you to have packed your things and left by noon tomorrow. You're throwing me out of our house? Asked Michael with an incredulous voice. The deed of the house is in my name. Don't forget that. My mother gave us this house as a wedding gift. She had the deed made out in my name, but if you want, we can discuss this in court as well." Michael was shocked. He thought the house belonged to him. He saw it as common property. "Get yourself a lawyer within 2 days," said Emily as she went to the door. "I will file for divorce." Emily took her bag and suitcase and left. She got into the car and waited for school to end. She drove to Olivia's high school and picked her up, then continued to Ethan's middle school. The children immediately sensed that something was wrong but didn't ask for details. "We'll be staying with grandmother for a few days," Emily told them. "There's a small renovation at the house, something like water damage." Olivia looked at her mother skeptically. At 14, she was a sensitive girl and could see the pain in her mother's eyes. "Are you okay, Mom?" she asked quietly. "I'm fine, darling. I'm just tired," said Emily, suppressing her tears. That night, after Margaret had put the children to bed, Emily told everything that had happened. The older woman hugged her daughter tightly. "He wasn't good enough for you anyway. You deserve better, my daughter." "Mom, 15 years. I've invested 15 years of my life in this marriage. How could he do this to me?" "Because he's a weak man, Emily. You were always stronger and smarter than him. Maybe that's why he looked for something else." "And the children? What should I tell them? How will they look at their father from now on?" "Be honest with them, but don't go into detail. Don't speak badly about their father. Let them make their own decisions. With time, they will understand." Emily cried all night, thinking, making plans. She felt betrayed, used, cheated.